we have with us Noureen. Noureen is going to be talking about overcoming imposter syndrome in cybersecurity and the importance of mentorship in the industry. A little bit about Noureen. Noureen is a passionate cybersecurity professional with vast experience in multi-faceted, complex, fast-paced environments in the public and private sectors. Noureen excels in cybersecurity threat intelligence with proven leadership experience in issues from cybersecurity and data privacy to technical groups and business stakeholders. She works at Cisco Systems as a cybersecurity consulting engineer while leading the threat intel team. Noureen is a host of the Cisco Security Stories Podcast, where she shares her views and knowledge on cybersecurity. She is a critical thinker, astute problem solver, and an effective translator between technical and non-technical entities in cybersecurity. We seem to have lost Noureen. While she refreshes, I'll just finish up her bio. Noureen is a global keynote speaker and award winner of the Cisco 2019 Cybersecurity Champion and is listed among the top 30 most admired minority professionals in cybersecurity. Noureen is a people's leader and very passionate in mentoring others. She is the owner of the Mentor and Mentee Women in Cybersecurity group on LinkedIn, founder of the Global Mentoring Program at Cisco, and president of North Carolina Women Cybersecurity Affiliate Chapter. Noureen is an advocate for many women and others in the IT industry. Noureen sets an example for others to follow in her hard work to keep ahead of the pack in a rapidly changing industry. Her commitment to I think she's back. Yes. Her commitment to generously share insights on an ongoing basis and a desire to help clients protect their businesses and the data in a complex and uncertain world. She holds a bachelor's degree in information technology from University of Massachusetts and a graduate of the cybersecurity program at Massachusetts Institute of Technology, MIT. With that, Noureen, over to you. You can start your screen share as well.
Thank you, Nadir. Let me get this ready. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. Nadir, where do I click to share my screen? It says it's red.
Next to the microphone.
Okay.
Next to the mic.
Cool. Thank you. Let me know if you can see my screen.
Yes, great. Go ahead.
Awesome. Thank you. Well, it's an honor to be here, and thank you so much for having me here. I know we've had so many conversations about technology, cybersecurity, and governance, privacy, and what have you, and more to come. Great environment to learn how to proceed in your career in this industry, and I'm glad to be here with you. Today, I want to take you a little bit on a side journey, right? I can talk about cybersecurity a lot because threat intelligence is my arena. But let me give you a brief intro, quick intro about me. I like giving back to the community. Part of my giving back is mentoring others. And that is why I really joined this session, so that I can share the importance of mentorship while overcoming this thing we call the imposter syndrome in this industry. One of my favorite quotes is, we rise by lifting each other. I can't do it by myself, you can't do it by yourself, and we all need each other. Having said that, yes, I work at Cisco Systems. I manage the threat intelligence team, great team over there. If you ever looking, feel free to reach out. Let me move to the next poster. So my topic today will be addressing overcoming imposter syndrome in cybersecurity, the importance of mentorship in this industry. Imposter syndrome, what is it? You've seen maybe people wear masks during carnivals or even during Halloween season or any fun event, right? Because you want to degauss your face. You don't want to see the real feature of the person. You put this mask in front of you. It's interesting that a lot of people go through imposter syndrome, aware or unaware. It is something that we need to address, and it's something we ourselves need to check in and know we are going through it, and we need to overcome it if we really want to thrive in this industry of cybersecurity or in life in general. It's defined as imposter syndrome is defined as a chronic self-doubt and the sense of intellectual fraudulence that overrides any feeling of success or external proof of competence. Take a minute and let that simmer in. For example, I can remember in class when I was growing up, I used to be the quiet one, because every time I raised my question to ask a question, the professor used to say, "Put your hand down. I don't want to hear from you today. You ask too many questions." With that, I developed a sense of just being quiet, even though I was burning inside with questions. There's so many people who go through that. They get imposter syndrome through career journey, or even in school, or their parents even tell them, or even the community does tell you that. It is serious, my friends. Let's see what other people do. Statistics. It shows, although it affects both genders, more recent statistics shows it's more severe in women than men. And there's a recent article that BBC just recently did. They just released it recently on this, because it's something that we really need to address. You'll be surprised, my friends. We are not alone. But how do we pick up on these symptoms or the signs, right? One of them will be lack of confidence. So when my professor told me not to raise my hand, when my professor told me to stop asking questions, what did that do to me? It made me feel lack of confidence. Maybe there was something I wasn't getting. That's why I keep asking questions. So I think my confidence started going down. Anxiety. Many people feel anxiety, even maybe if you're looking at a job description, you are trying to apply for it, or even you're having a boardroom conversation in your workplace. You want to say something at that round table, but you feel anxious because, last time you said something, somebody spoke over you or somebody did not consider your point at all. Another sign of imposter syndrome is to distract your own intuition. You have self-doubt. I don't think this is for me. No, cybersecurity is not for me. Oh no, I don't think that career is for me. Engineering is not for me. I grew up in a family of doctors and lawyers. I'm the only one who ventured into engineering. Everybody thought we'll be doctors or we'll be lawyers. So I started having self-doubt. And when I moved into engineering, I realized this is where my tribe is. This is where I would like to be. And finally now into cybersecurity. But as we've seen the statistics recent over and over, they constantly say, the statistics says women are maybe 11 to 12% in this industry. Well, there's so many men who are in this industry in cybersecurity. When you look at corporate governments or even institutions or even at workplaces, you go into the company directory and you start from the top down. By the time you bump into a female, you'll have gone through hoops of several people who are male before you find a female. So as a female in a corporation, so you start feeling your own distrust in your own intuition. Maybe I don't think I fit in here. This is not for me. This is for them, right? And that promotes fear. And it's something we really need to address. And because as we see even on the threat landscape, we've seen most of the threat actors, they were once good people. They used to be on the blue team. But now they've gone rogue. It is because of the imposter syndrome. If we don't go to the root cause analysis of stuff, we'll continue trying to defend an enemy that we are not really attacking from the root down. Another sign of imposter syndrome is that self-comparison against others. I want to be like her. I want to be like him. I want to attain so many certifications like person so-and-so. I want so many degrees like a person so-and-so. Well, in actual sense, maybe all need is one certificate or maybe even none. Maybe you just need one degree and you get that career. We are one all unique. We have to embrace authenticity. You have to embrace yourself and your unique self. When I'm hiring for my team, I can have person A with a lot of certificates, a lot of degrees and no passion. And I can have person B, maybe one degree, one certificate and fully passionate. At the end of that conversation, I may give a chance to that person who only has just one degree and one certificate because they're showing me passion and the authentic self. They're being vulnerable, just telling me this is what I have. So when you identify these feelings and take a moment, reflect on your own self. I've done it myself. Sometimes you read something and you think, oh, that's for somebody else. But take a moment and reflect yourself when you started this journey in cybersecurity, or in IT, or in computer science, or in engineering, or what have you. There are moments, if you're going to be honest to yourself, there are moments you felt lack of confidence, anxiety, distrust of your own self-intuition, fear, and self-comparison against others. I'm going to be honest with you. I have been through this journey myself. When I decided I want to be in cybersecurity and this is where I want to stay as the rest of my career, I encountered a little bit of this because when I started looking around for a mentor, somebody to help me in this journey, I couldn't find many females or people who look like me or people who were in the same level, somebody who did not have all those certificates because I didn't have them at that time. You know, see, when you're starting something, there's always a beginning. There's always a starting point. When you're applying, if I'm going to be applying for a job, for example, I cannot apply for a job where I meet all the requirements. That does not leave room for myself for growth. If the job requirements requires 10 active points right there, and I can meet 6, I'll go for it. What have I done? I have overcome fear. I've overcome my self-distrust. I've overcome lack of confidence, and I've overcome self-comparison. I know there's somebody who's going to ace all those points they're requiring. But myself, when I get that interview, I'll tell them straight up, I apply for this role. I do not meet the last 4 requirements. I meet the first 6 because I want to leave room for myself for growth. And that's what you have to own it in this industry. Be confident, overcome that fear by taking on that opportunity, right? And when you start having that distrust into intuition, it's time to speak up. And that is where now mentorship will come into play. Let me move to the next slide and see. My friends, we are not alone. We have many people in the industry who we look unto. We enjoy movies or listening to books or even see them play major tennis players. They suffer from imposter syndrome. They've owned it up. They've come forward and they say, Maya Angelou, a civil activist, she admitted so many times, she often felt like a fraud, saying, I have written 11 books, but each time I think, oh, they are going to find out now. I ran a game on everyone and they are going to find me out. She had her own self-distrust, that anxiety. Serena Williams, a very key tennis player, but she often quotes, it's tough for me to stop being like Venus or become the person I am. See, she compares herself with her sister, which is a key thing we saw over here. We compare ourselves to others. Maya Angelou is right here. Right? So everybody has their own stage of what they're dealing with. Howard Schultz, I'm sure many of you know them. We enjoy Starbucks coffee. He admitted feeling undeserving and insecure, yet he's the CEO of the company. Again, he finds himself here distrusting his own intuition. He feels like lack of confidence. But when he steps on that stage, and he's talking to his employees or he's talking to his boardroom members, you're not going to see it on his face because he has overcome it. But it takes time. It takes a community. It takes a group of people to rally around you to help you nurture these things. And down here, I put you. What is your story? See, it's time that we have to remove this mask. We can be the best professionals in this industry, but if we don't take care of our own self-will internally, right, we cannot help somebody else. I like that quote I always say, we rise by lifting each other, but I cannot lift you if I'm dealing with my own issues, right? This imposter syndrome. I have seen many in the industry reach out to me, Noureen, can you be my mentor? I applied for this role. Can you advocate for me? And after several conversations, I start picking on, they are going through either they have their own self-distrust or they are comparing themselves against others, or they have anxiety which has developed, or fear underneath, or lack of confidence, right? But we have to own it, identify where you are. Maybe you're one of in an anxiety stage, maybe you're on fear stage, but just identify where you are. And that's the first step of self-healing when it comes to that, right? And how to cope with this imposter syndrome. It is good, my friends, to tell you that we're dealing with this, all of us, whether you admit it or not. Everybody goes through it. Ask even the current president or people in the politics or your employer, my managers. I've talked to people who are in higher positions and everybody has owned it. Yes, Noureen, I suffer through it. I have my moments of anxiety. I have my moments of self-doubt. See, being vulnerable is very important because somebody else will be able to help you. But if you're not vulnerable, if you're not authentic, you can't go far. So what do they recommend? We recommend relax. You're not alone. As you've seen, the CEO of Starbucks, he suffers from it. Serena, right, suffers from it. Maya Angelou, who has written 11 books, and many others. Myself too. I'm here speaking to you. I've gone through my own share, but let me tell you, when I speak and I look at this camera, you see nothing but confidence, and I'm articulating the points to you properly so that you guys can learn, identify, and be able to move forward or even cope with it. Be present with oneself and know the signs. Know when you're getting anxious. Know when you're starting to feel lack of self-confidence. Know when you're starting to compare yourself with others, right? Like, let's say you're looking at that job description. You're looking to apply for it, but you're hesitating. It's time to check in. Why are you hesitating? Is it the education that you don't have? Is it the experience that you don't have? Is it the exposure that you don't have? Those are my three E's I always tell people. Get your education, get your experience. It can be on the job or out of the job. On the job is where you take on opportunities. Out of the job, you can write blogs and ask people to contribute. And that way you can showcase that you're building your own experience. And then exposure, the networking. But unless you're not present with yourself, you're not going to know these signs are coming in, right? So be present with oneself and identify those moments when that's taking place. Embrace the feelings. I embrace the feelings. I remember when I took my first job, I was interviewed. Across the table was nothing but 8 men and I was the only female. I owned that interview. I made sure I was not going to leave that place without that job. I knew I was the best candidate. Was I anxious? Was I nervous entirely? Of course I was. But guess what? I owned it. But at the end of that session, I asked them, is there any reason why you'll not accept me for this role? Because by now you know which candidate you're going to hire. And if that's the case, I would like to know the feedback so that I can perfect myself going forward for the next role. But I don't think I'll be going for another role because I know this is it for me. It was pin drop silent. Well, I had the courage to shake their hands and ask them, show me where I'll be sitting because I want to start my job. My heart was pounding, but you couldn't tell, right? So you have to overcome those feelings and embrace them because everybody goes through it. And it's okay not to be perfect. I'm one of those perfectionists. In threat intelligence, I gotta be perfect. I gotta be concise, clear when I'm communicating the information about that threat actor. Where are they coming from? What is their intent? When did they come into the network? Why are they doing that? I'm a perfectionist when it comes to my job. But in my real personal life, my own individual, I have to admit I don't have to be perfect. It's okay not to know everything so that others can also help you. Say yes to opportunities. I've said so many yeses to so many opportunities which I had no clue how I was going to tackle them. But I remember my mom told me, always be prepared for an opportunity that you don't have than have an opportunity and you're not ready for it. I remember my first job when I graduated from University of Massachusetts with the engineering degree. I was working as a system admin and I was doing work in the data center, rack stacking, switching, and what have you. Late night shift. Those were humble beginnings. But I remember one day they were having a lunch and learn lesson whereby I joined the team and I started talking with them and they were talking about malware viruses. At that time, I had not started venturing into security. I was curious. My curiosity never died when my professor used to tell me don't ask questions. I kept asking questions anyway. What to lose, right? Just ask. You never know unless you ask. And then the manager says, you seem so curious. Do you want to join the InfoSec team? Back in 2013, there was nothing, it wasn't, cybersecurity wasn't that famous. The term was information security. I joined the team. There, the company owner said, Massachusetts Institute of Technology is launching a cybersecurity program. I would like to put your name there. Would you like to? I jumped onto that opportunity. I didn't know what cybersecurity was. I didn't know what the program was going to be, but we were going to be among the first students. I said yes to that opportunity. Now, had I not said yes to that opportunity, I don't know what would have happened. So my friends, own it. Any opportunity comes your way, own it. Even if you don't know what to expect on the other end, you'll never know unless you try. And then know the difference between humility and fear. Some people just say, well, I just want to be, humble, No. Know when there's time to be humble and there's time when the fear creeps in. Know the difference, right? and then celebrate and track your success. We are in this industry, we are constantly working. I'm constantly embedded chasing these threat actors, writing scripts, right? Writing blogs, educating, performing those tabletop exercises, having those C-suite conversations, doing keynote speaking, writing a lot of security content on our security products, training people. I have to celebrate my success because we easily forget on our achievements because we don't track them. So that when you feel fear, when you feel that imposter syndrome signs start kicking in, go back to that success book that you keep, that journal you keep, and start reading your success. It will start building you up, and you'll start feeling more confident that you can do it. And then don't be too hard on yourself. Others are going through it. You're not alone. It's okay not to be perfect. Embrace the feelings. Don't be too hard on yourself. I am always hard on myself. I know this. And every time I have to pinch myself and say, Noureen, relax. It's not the end of the world. We can do it together. So don't be doing it. So I'm telling you this from my own self-experiences. And I hope it's resonating and helping somebody. And I'll be glad to take questions. One thing, in order for us to overcome that imposter syndrome, we need to help each other. We rise by lifting each other. And that is where the power of mentorship comes in. You have to find a mentor, that person that can tell you the good, the bad, and the ugly. You should feel comfortable sharing your intimate details of your career with that person, including your goals and mistakes, so they can be able to counsel you. But remember, when you're looking for a mentor, not everybody's a good mentor. A good mentor should be a good listener, right? One who's caring. And always look for one who's a consultant, somebody you can reach out and ask those obvious questions about maybe a specific career goal in your journey, right? Or a counselor, somebody who listens, a cheerleader, somebody who advocates for you. You can tell them all and they're always cheering you up. My mentees can tell you too. Noureen is my greatest cheerleader because I see something in them that they don't see in them. You can't do it alone. You need mentorship. You need a mentor to excel. I remember once I graduated from MIT and I got a job here at Cisco. After my interview, I had the education, I had the experience of working in the data center and doing sysadmin role, but I needed a mentor to help me understand the company culture, understand the company, the security culture of the company. It was tough, I'll be honest with you. I went through rough patches because not everybody's a mentor. Some people say yes, but they don't have time. Others will say yes, but they wanna talk at you, not with you, right? As a mentor, I end up being a mentee because I tend to learn more from my mentee than I was supposed to give to them. When I enter into that relationship between my mentor and my mentee, I make sure that I'm in it to learn too. It's not me only. It should be a dialogue and not a monologue. Another person you need to look for is an advisor. A mentor will give you those concrete career advice questions specific to your career, right? An advisor will give you advices not in regards necessarily to your career, but even in life in general, right? They're the people you can always say, can you advise me a best book to read other than just my cybersecurity books? Can you advise me maybe what stock options to buy? Something you can have outside the norm of the career, because it's good to twitch them up, right? Twist them up. Don't just stick with one person. I'm on a journey where I'm soon, maybe eventually, right? I'll be a chief information security officer or chief financial officer or chief technology officer. That's C-suite level, right? So I have tapped the shoulders of so many who are in that industry, who are in governance, others are in privacy, others are in threat intelligence, others are in business, because you need a variety of these people so you can learn different skill sets from each and every one of them. And for them, I reach out to them, not necessarily just for mentorship, but just for advising. And I ask them, tell me what's your day-to-day like? What would you advise? Let's reason this together. And last, the key important person you also want to have is a sponsor. This is your greatest advocate. They are the person, do you realize most decisions about you are made when you're not present? Those conversations that happen in the boardroom when you're not there, but your sponsor is there. They are the person who speaks on your behalf. They not only know your mistakes, but they thrive at knowing your success. They speak highly of you. They advocate for you. Well, a sponsor has to have a seat at the table. They have to have authority within a certain organization or corporation so that when they speak, we know that their word is taken in. make sure you get a sponsor in your career, because sponsors will take you far. A mentor is good, career concrete advice. An advisor is good to have just general conversation, but a sponsor, this person will make a big difference in your career life. You don't want to be stuck doing the same thing over and over. We want to see continuous growth, right? And as we continue doing this, it's always good to impact others and impact the next generation. Don't just stick with that information. I always tell my mentees, I'm going to ask you for one thing. After I finish mentoring you, or we finish this time frame where we set aside to mentor one another, I want you to pay it forward for others. Make it happen for somebody else. People need us. Volunteer at schools. Educate those teachers. Kids have gone virtual. Lord knows what's happening on the social media or in the internet they have access. We are hearing so many of social crimes and ransomware taking down schools that they've gone virtual. They need all of us there. You can be an advisor. You can be that mentor, right? You don't need to know it all, but even maybe that password encryption, how to be safe online, is information that others will benefit, that you're holding on to. I really recommend get a mentor and be a mentor to somebody else, right? Get an advisor, but be also an advisor to somebody else. Find a sponsor. And for those who have made it in this industry, by all means, step up and be a sponsor to others who are trying to come up in the journey of cybersecurity or IT or what career journey they have. For indeed, we rise by lifting each other. Here, I'm going to share some resources. I have that mentoring group there on LinkedIn. It's a global group. Feel free to join. Everybody there is very welcoming. You can brainstorm, ask questions. That's where you come and just bring your vulnerable self, and people will be glad to help you. We've seen questions like, I'm trying to transition from accounting into cybersecurity. Can somebody help me? Of course, somebody can, because you're just changing your ones and zeros to zeros and ones. And now that mentee that I was mentoring who was in accounting, and now they're already having a career in cybersecurity because they came there and asked for mentorship. You can't do it alone. We need each other to do this. And we also have a global mentoring program. I remember when we went into lockdown during COVID, I used to do a lot of public speaking, and sharing knowledge is one of my passion. I'm very passionate at helping others. And one of it is just by sharing knowledge. I realized I'm not going to see people anymore. This is not good. So I went back to my company and I said, I think I have an idea. I'm going to launch a global mentoring program where everybody across the group can join the session. But what is what I want from people from my company? All engineers, I want you hands on deck. I want you to join these sessions, pick a mentee. People are going to join and they're going to need help. And I'm honored to say we are going to episode 18 now, and we host it every other week. And it's open to all. Feel free to join. That's the link over there. Many Cisco engineers have volunteered to take this accountability, to help others in this journey. I can do it by myself. You can do it by yourself. But together, we can do it together. I think that's the end of my presentation right there. I'm going to stop there in a bit so that I can take questions.
Hi, Noureen.
Hello.
Okay, let's get to the questions. We have 2 questions. So the first one is, having a mentor may lead to dependency. What line should be drawn while looking up to someone as a mentor or looking up to advices from a mentor?
Well, it depends, right? Advices from a mentor. Every mentor who comes to me, I first have to ask them 5 questions, right? What is it that you're looking to be mentored in, right? What have you done in the past? Have you had a mentor before, right? And where are you right now? And then where do you want to be in the next 1 year, 2 years, 3 years? Do you have goals? Once I know what a mentee wants, then we can be able to create that. Dependency is good, dependency, because they're looking at you for counsel, for guidance, right? So of course they're going to be dependent on you. But however, as a mentor, I expect my mentee to take on more responsibility. So it will be like a 70 to 30%, right? Where the mentee is doing the 70% of the work and I'm doing the 30% of the work. And constantly checking in. Don't just say, we're going to have a conversation today. I check in with my mentees bi-weekly just to make sure, did you meet the deliverables? And if I don't see you picking your slack, I just have to address it.
Okay. The next question is, in your experience, what age group of people did you find were more vulnerable to the imposter syndrome?
You'll be amazed. It's from we've started seeing the statistics. Even the BBC article showed the statistics started from high school all the way to college, and then now to people who are in career business. And actually even had that same tabletop exercises here at my place of work, and everybody owned up to it. So even we professionals who are in this industry, we're going through it.
Okay. The last question is, okay, it's a two-parter. How do you handle racism and being a woman in cybersecurity and cybersecurity-related projects?
I enjoy being a woman in cybersecurity, and I own that because they've talked so much about women not being in this industry, and that's why I do a lot of speaking, a lot of mentoring to showcase them. We're here, we're doing it, we can do it, and there's so many others like me who are in this industry. How do I overcome racism? That's a nice question to ask, because I've recently, with all the social injustice going place, I did take the ownership of having maybe a tabletop exercises with a group of 5 people who see things on a different way and others see on a different way. So some are pro, others are against. And we write on a whiteboard, and I say, what are your core values that you really, live by? And everybody wrote their 5 core values. And guess what? There was one that every one of us, whether we agreed or did not agree, everyone wrote this word called integrity. And I said, okay, now that you've said about integrity is knowing how to act right, not because it's famous, not because it's what's trending, because it's just what it is right. So even the people who are not seeing eye to eye due to political issues or racial issues, we all agreed integrity is a common value that we can all leave the room together in that. So when it comes to that time, you have to have those conversations with people. You have to see on the other side, why are they acting that way? Why do they reason that way? You can't just self-judge them, or because that's the way they think. It's good to hear from the other side of the table, and maybe it might illuminate your eye and see the other side. And then both of you have to come to a mutual understanding, like what we did when we wrote down the values, the core values, and integrity was one of them, where both sides, and people were not even seeing what each other was writing. When we just flipped the cards, integrity was all across. So we stood out and we left. Integrity is what we'll live by.
That's a very nice way to go about it, Noureen. Thank you so much for sharing your views with us. We were very happy to have you. It was a pleasure. We look forward to your presence for our upcoming conferences as well. Thank you so much. Please be safe.
Thank you. Bye.